What do you think about if someone mentions the word Bentley? Posh, for starters, big, expensive, a herd of dead cows smeared fragrantly across the interior, a couple of nice trees whittled expertly into the crannies. You probably think about big petrol engines, to be honest, a 6-litre W12, or maybe the not-so-budget V8. For me, I always think about cigars and brandy and racing and rakishness, and also gout, but I think that is just me. Hang on, are you sure we've got the right car for electrifying? Oh, yeah, right, this is the Bentley Bentayga Hybrid. Wait, what? Yes, this is the Bentley Bentayga with added plug. In fact, Bentley reckons this is the world's first ever super luxury plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. So I guess Porsche's Panamera e-hybrid is more sports than waft. But let's find out. So for 133 grand, what do you actually get? Well, a single 126 brake horsepower electric motor wedged between the engine and the gearbox somewhere down here. A 17.3 kilowatt battery that's somewhere under the boot floor. That's good enough for about 25 miles of EV only range. Now, that doesn't sound like much because it isn't, not really, but it might be just enough to get you through the bits of town that are the least efficient for a big combustion engine. At which point the Bentayga's 3-litre V6 turbo will kick in because yes, obviously it's got one of those too. Altogether, this particular Bentayga manages 443 brake horsepower, 0 to 62 in 5.5 seconds and 158 miles an hour. But more relevantly, if you plug it in enough, it also manages 124 grams per kilometre of CO2 and roughly 80 miles to the gallon. Now that's better than most eco super minis. And that's from a 2.6 tonne 4-wheel drive salute to leatherwork and knurling.
This actually makes more sense than it sounds like. Big SUVs are really popular in cities for some unfathomable reason, and anything that can make them even a little bit less polluting is probably a good thing, if you don't ban them altogether. As long as you plug them in regularly, of course. The Bentayga Hybrid does replenish the battery when driving, but only when braking, not from the engine. So gaining yourself even a bit of extra EV-only charge takes quite a bit of mooching about.
There are a few different modes to choose from. You can whack your destination into the sat-nav, and the Bentley will automatically work out the best way to use its EV-only range. If you want EV-only on demand, you can switch to electric mode, and the car will exhaust its batteries before switching to petrol power. But if you push past a certain point on the intelligent throttle, then the combustion engine kicks in anyway. Or you can press hold, which saves up the electric range until you really need it.
There's no auto brake regeneration. Bentley decided not to use it, so you just press the brake pedal like a normal car. The car slows using the electric motor for a bit, and then adds a touch of charge to the battery. And then the brake discs take over from a certain point, and you can't feel the change, so it's a pretty seamless system. The weird thing is getting into this beautiful leathery womb and starting it up. Because the Bentayga always starts in EV mode, it never thrums into life like you might be used to. It's also quiet, and I mean quiet even for an EV. There are 8 layers of insulation, so for a minute I actually thought I'd gone a bit deaf.
And if I'm being honest, unless you're properly crawling around town, EV only isn't exactly punchy. Don't forget, it's only got 126 brake horsepower to play with, and that's about a fifth of the big petrol car. And this is still a 2.6 tonne gentle person's club on wheels. When that 3-litre V6 kicks in, it's good enough, but it's not quite in keeping with the Bentley vibe. Look, when I hit it, yeah, it's fine, but it's not brilliant. And although the way the Bentley Hybrid goes around corners is mighty impressive for such a big lump, it's not quite as tidy or as fun as the traditional Bentley Bentaygas because it doesn't have the active ride control of those cars. So it's not quite as good even if you do play with all the drive modes, which consist of Sport, Bentley, Comfort and Custom. Look, quite a lot of lean, not quite as confident. But that's also kind of not the point. If you stick this car on a home charger, then it'll be full in about 2.5 hours. And there's an app that lets you start charging the battery when you feel like it, or indeed warm or cool the cabin before you get into it. And it does all that without depleting the battery. If you do lots of short hops in town and you plug this car in regularly, it makes more sense than plying a 6-litre W12 petrol around a city, most of whose horsepower you can't use anyway. You get Bentley vibes without typical Bentley fuel consumption. That's got to be a good thing, right? Yes, the battery could be a bit bigger. 50 miles or so of EV range would be an absolute killer, and the regen could be more aggressive, but there's a willingness here. It represents Bentley's attitude. This is one of the big, massively traditional manufacturers, and it's decided to embrace a bit of the future. The Bentayga Hybrid is a proper plug-in from a company that's more famous for huge petrol engines and massive speed, luxurious interiors, and being mentioned in rap songs, yo. By 2023, there'll be an electrified version of every Bentley on sale, and the company says by 2025, they'll release a pure EV. But more than that, Bentley, a bastion of old school, has made its Crewe factory 100% carbon neutral. In fact, 100% of its electricity comes from either on-site solar or renewable suppliers. The factory has 10,000 solar panels, that's about 7.7 megawatts worth, enough to provide energy for 1,750 houses. So, the Bentayga Hybrid, it's not perfect, but it has got the right idea. If it's used as intended, and that's not a given, I'll grant you, then it could give those super luxury SUV urbanites something to gad about in that doesn't have the planet burning effects. Well, some of them anyway. The thing with this first attempt at a plug-in though, is it's Bentley's first toe in the waters of electrification. They're having a go, and they've got huge plans to make all of their cars greener. And that, well, that's something worth celebrating.